Here we go. Okay, welcome to day 3. How I had every patient agree chiropractic is healthcare lifestyle on day 1 with and what the word should be automatic family referrals. You know, I went through the story on day 1. You got to go back and get the great story, man. It's a life-changing story. Completely got fed up with patient education, switched the whole model of changing beliefs, studied human behavior, learned how people make life-changing decisions. Why? Because I was committed to the purpose to change healthcare. We did Chiro Mafia this morning with Joe Borio, and I went through, Joe and I very quickly talked about 3 questions we start on day 1. 1, what's your purpose? When you found the principle, how did you see it? And this is so crucial because this is what people must understand. And, you know, universal intelligence and native intelligence, he saw that his job was to connect people with God inside them. God inside him, outside him, God is everywhere. He saw that having a clear spine and nervous system, having divine energy move through your body was connection back to God. And that's the way I saw it. And so that was his thing. And so his purpose was to help as many people as possible get reconnected with God. That was it. And no wonder he saw 700 people a day, because when you're operating in that mindset, you're going to be a magnet to people. You're going to be, you are enlightened. And therefore, since you're enlightened, you are literally emitting light, right? So one of the slides we go over in the boot camp, just from meditation, the average person radiates 4 to 20 photons per second per millimeter squared, per centimeter squared. When you meditate, you increase the number of photons by 100,000 per second per centimeter squared. So when you get in a state of peace, you are enlightened. And we go back to David Hawkins on the map of consciousness. When you're in the state, the consciousness of internal peace, the physical manifestation is illumination. Now we're dealing with other innate beings. They can feel it. They can see it with their intuition. They may not see it with their naked eye, but they can feel it. And every innate spiritual being seeks that level of consciousness. That's what builds your practice. That's what creates trust. And if you're not using spirituality on yourself, then how can you ever connect people with what's inborn inside them? And once you get that, man, things start to grow. Now you need a strategy of communication, because if you do all that, will information be more powerful? Yeah, but you're still speaking to their left brain, still not the right strategy. But they will be more willing to change their belief systems. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So we look at, okay, what's your purpose? What type of patient you want to create? We want to create leaders. We want to have patients come to us first. What type of impact you want to make? We want to create a legacy that affects generations. We want to change healthcare. Then we go to the business model. Well, now that you know the principle, you are a life force being coming to physical matter. Your purpose is change healthcare. Your core values, your standards. Now we need a strategy that's going to meet the standard. And today I'm really excited about this, because we're actually going to show you how to do it on day 1. Now there's some mindset stuff, but if you don't get the mindset, you're not going to understand. You'll understand the systems, but when you communicate it as a system, it doesn't have the same power as when it literally comes from your spirit. Psalm 139:16. See, now you got me off on this. I'm not even done the first slide yet. Psalm 139:16. That is your purpose. See, I'm yelling again. You saw your purpose. You saw your human experience in the spirit world, and you said, yes, put me in. And that high vibrating divine consciousness had to literally slow its vibration down to occupy this physical being. And then you go, and then you have this veil, because if you brought heaven and earth in your consciousness, you wouldn't have a human experience. So Neil Donald Walsh calls it in Conversation with God, this veil of ignorance. We have this veil having this human experience, but your spirit and your heart know the purpose all along. You have every superpower to fulfill it. Everything in your life is leading you to it. And that's why the foundation is the healed system. That's why, Jose, you've already been through it. Susie, you're going through it online. The people that just came back from this event, practices are growing, breaking records, and they don't know the systems any better, but their consciousness shifted. Spirit builds your practice, systems handle the flow. Now, I'm definitely going to give you some systems today that when you do this, everything changes. Absolutely. So let's move this. We're going to break generation. Whoa, I got to move a lot of stuff. We got to break generational patterns right from the first impression. Now, everybody knows this, right? You get one chance to make a first impression. Why is that? Because when you have a highly emotional experience, you as a human being, an emotional being, you're emoting energy and motion. You are continually associating conditions with emotions. And when those conditions and emotions come together, they wire in your subconscious mind. And then it's whether or not you trust people. What's your impression? What's your intuition saying? Can I trust them? Because trust, if you can't trust them, it negates your most primitive human instinct, and that's survival. And that's why it triggers, what's the trigger? Warning. Warning flares go up, red flags, and you don't even know why. It's just a feeling. And it could be, hey, your body language doesn't match. There's all kinds of reasons, but one of those reasons, one of the most important reasons, is you're trying to close a patient. Not good. Now we're going to go to the next slide we went through last night, and I'm going to show you why that's a problem. We cracked the code. So the first door, that's closing a patient. Anybody can close a patient. All you got to do is say, Miss Jones, how's your back pain affecting your life? Well, I can't pick up my kids. I don't feel like a good mom, la, 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 la. So what are you doing? Here's the mistake. This is basic sales. What did I say? Basic sales. What didn't I say? Changing beliefs. So this works for a one-time sale. And that's associate an emotion with an immediate condition that's causing them a problem. That's healthcare. When the problem's gone, the emotion is gone, the patient is gone. And that's the problem with that strategy. Once they can pick up their kids, they feel like, good mom, doctor, the best, I'm out of here. Anybody can do that. Do I need to pay $2,500 to go to a weekend seminar? No. Find out, ask them why their pain's bugging them. What's the real problem in their life? Shit, you just learned it. Thank you very much. Save your money. That was free. It's not that hard. Now, the problem is you get the sale. The next problem is you got another door. The sale, the first door, visit 1 through 40. Take no x-rays at 36. Second door, visit 41 to 72. Very different mindset. We talked about this last night. And if you're living on your money from your first sale, you have a sales, marketing, advertising business. Because if you don't get new patients, your practice doesn't grow. And I had a 40 PVA because I did what I was taught by 4 management groups. Man, my face is all blurry. Let me clean this camera a little bit. Hey, there I am. I don't look that old. So So what happens? Now I had to maintain my volume. I had to get 40 new patients every month or my volume would drop. That's hard work. Now the code to the second door obviously is a very different code. You got to know that. That's a 70, 80 PVA. That is a totally different mindset. Then let's say if you get 50% of your patients re-signing, then you are so far ahead of the rest of the profession. And if you're using a patient education model, then what they're buying is you. And they're buying your honesty, they're buying your authenticity, they're buying the fact that you may be loving. There's a lot of loving people that don't have 80 PVAs. They're buying your certainty, your communication. And if we actually listened to what you were saying, you're probably having pattern interruptions, reframes, giving examples, telling stories, and speaking to their right brain, thinking, calling it a patient education model. Joe Borio, love that dude. I'm his #1 biggest fan. 400 PVA. He calls it patient education, but when you listen to listen to Carl Mafia, man, join the YouTube channel, man. You know, people like any elite clients. Yeah, I listen to it. I use that line. Got a $4,000 check. Yeah, because it works. So anyway, the bottom line, the third door. Here's the point I'm making. Third door is visit 73 to visit 400 or whatever your PVA is. Definitely over 100. The code to the third door opens all three. Why is that important? Because they're getting through the third door at the first door. Now time and money is not a problem. But what you're not doing is using the first code. Because once you wire them on day one, you use the first code, you've created that person. That's the person you created. Did you want to create that person? No. But that's patient education model. Now, if you have an 80 PVA using patient education, like we already commented, if we actually look at the mechanics of what you're doing, you're probably not doing that. But what's the problem? I ran into that problem. Then I have an associate that can't maintain that volume. And so now the problem is I can't leave for a month. Because if I do, and I want to go to Europe and go swim in the Mediterranean for a month, sit on the beach, eat some amazing Italian food. Hello. Why wouldn't anybody want to do that? I can't do it because I would come home, I would lose 100 visits. So for 11 years, I didn't take a week vacation. In the last 3 to 4 years, I didn't even have to show up. That's freedom. The #1 reason people call me. You have to use the code to the third door, and they have to understand lifestyle right from day one. Now, I know you guys, Susie, Jose, all the other elite people that are putting their kids to bed and know they're going to get the recording the next day. By the way, Mark, I would love if you would share that with other chiropractors, man. We could create more lifestyle around the world. Thank you. Then I know they understand as knowledge. You guys have been to the boot camp. Like I know you know the third door, but until that's all you think about, that's all you want to talk about. The boundaries, the boards in the glass, keep the puck in the ice. You're not going to create lifestyle from day one. So let's show you now how to do that. Well, let's go back. What's the mindset? 3 levels of purpose. Well, I want to create a legacy that lasts generations. Are you 1000% committed to that? So how do we do that? We break generational patterns. Now, if we can break generational patterns and get consistent family trees, at least create a leader that's going to go to their family and not give up. And if one of those family members is resistant, but they end up getting diagnosed with MS, now your patient's going to go to them even harder. Now they're going to bring them to a workshop. And my second wife passed away with cancer with a cervical kyphosis. Funny because she came in as a patient. We started to put a little bit of a lordosis in her neck, and then she quit. Well, it was all my insurance, blah, blah, blah. She was a single mom. She was barely paying her bills. She did, and she had no one to help her. I mean, she did not have the financial ability. We're going to go through that either tomorrow or Friday, 3 steps to a financial. So anyway, so I didn't see her for almost a year. Ran into her into a party. We started dating. We were married 10 years later. And when she was a patient, when she was active, man, she came in every day on her way home. When we got married, all of a sudden, she's working in the office. She didn't get adjusted. She went back to a kyphosis and died with cancer. I don't know, man. When I walked into those rooms that you could park a 747 and they're lined up with lazy boy chairs and all these people at different stages of metastasis have the IVs in their arm. And there was, I don't know, at least 50 people lined up. And you'd see the people, their hair missing. You'd see the people that were new, they looked normal. You see the people that looked like they were fighting for their life. But one thing that was impressed upon me, it wasn't just the fact how bad the world needs chiropractic. It was the fact that I could see people didn't lose their hair. They looked like they were just diagnosed. I could see the fear in their eyes. And then I could see people that were withered away, lost their hair, and they had joy. And I looked at these people as I was walking through. I would look in their eyes, I would say hi to them, and I would know intuitively, it would tell me they're going to live. And I would look at that guy, looked like he was diagnosed. I remember the dude. I remember everything about him right now. And I remember going by, looking in his eyes, and I saw the fear. And I thought, he's going to die. And then the thing that I thought is medicine creates that fear. Big strategic pause. My conviction went through the roof. Oh my God. The subluxation is true, man. And there's people walking around in fear because pharmaceuticals is satanic. So whatever your political beliefs are, Trump was reelected. So I don't know. I think he promised RFK Jr. that they're going to go after the CDC. So we'll see what happens. Not to mention the DOJ and everything else. First level, bring heaven to earth, man. That fear is not heaven. When the spine, the energy of the spine is the connection between heaven and earth. That's the root chakra at the sacrum, right? Say, well, that's sacral chakra down into the earth. Energy moves through your spine all the way up to the crown chakra. Those are energy channels and it moves. We are energy systems. And the new model is energy healing, and chiropractic is the tip of the spear. And when you take on that and you think, when I'm not going to die of disease, but I'm going to tell you another story. You're like, okay, that's enough stories already. Well, this is the problem when I'm leading this. You got to listen now. So when I went through life coaching, they take you through, and we go through this in the Healed Seminar. It's your future self. So you put yourself 20 years from today, and then you're at this big party and they're celebrating you and your life and everything you've done, right? So I had this vision, hundreds of people. It's kind of like the party at Meet Joe Black, that movie that Anthony Hopkins has. And he's at the end of his life, right? And then I was in my 60s, and I'm looking out and I'm seeing all you guys. And I know that healthcare has changed. And there's hundreds and hundreds of people, and they're leaders and chiropractors, and chiropractic is leading. And then I thought, and I said to myself, I did it. We did it. And then I thought, oh my God, I'm only in my 60s. I got to find another purpose. I don't want to die yet. And then a few years later, Healed came on me. And that was helping people find their soul purpose. Like, we're so blessed to have our soul purpose. And over 9 out of 10 people don't know why they're here. Jeez, man. And so I remember patients saying to me all the time, Dr. Fred, you're so happy, you know your purpose. I don't know my purpose. And I would feel so bad. And then I would think, okay, if you don't know yours, I don't know any better purpose in chiropractic. And it was that that made me say, you have to contribute. God does not give you the gift of being able to take care of you and your family and affecting generations like this without you contributing. And that was my close in the workshop. Would God give you this gift of life and then you keep it to yourself? Is that why you think you're here? Or do you think God put you in this body to go through these experiences because there's a problem in the world that you have an answer to? And every person that doesn't know what you know, do you feel a responsibility to tell them? And if you think God put you here for that reason, raise your hand. 100% of people would raise their hand. And then I would do the close to get them to sign up. You got to speak to their spirit, man, not to their frontal lobe. Speak to their spirit. They'll go to the ends of the earth and to heaven and bring it back for you. Okay, we're 3 slides in. Geez, 22 minutes. How'd that happen? So what's the purpose of day 1, day 2? To find out, establish the beliefs that have controlled their healthcare life and generations. How do you do that? We have a patient application form. Look at the patient application system, right? Patient application form. Why are they there? Primary complaint. Have they been to any other doctors for that? What drugs are they on? Family history. It will be scary what's on their family history that you didn't pay attention to. Do they have kids? Are they married? So once you go through that, geez, what surgeries do they have? Traumas? Because you're not going to focus on traumas, but you're going to look at, what I learned from somebody like CJ Mersch, skeletal. Well, let's find 5 traumas. No, let's find the health problem, and then let's find out what trauma caused it. That is a 180-degree difference. And that's the difference between lifestyle. So you're looking for their beliefs, right? Change those beliefs into health, and your whole life is based on energy. Energy gets to matter. Number 1 principle. Number 2, spinal cord carries that energy and is your lifeline. Number 3, your spine can block, cause stress to the spinal cord. Get the Back to Health book. Reduce that energy and progressively cause disease, including terminal disease. There's a 3-step pre-consult. I mean, if you throw out the whole script of the pre-consult and you just said that, they would get it better than you throwing out a pre-consult as an objective, factual script. But all this is already in there, right? Brain controls all the functions of the body, sends energy down the spinal cord like a river, carries the energy all over it. Every cell and organ in your body is dependent on that energy to what? Keep you alive, life, and keep you healthy, health. If I had a mic, I'd drop it. I'd slam my cell phone right now, but I don't want to break it. Done. That's it. They have to get this in the first 3 minutes. Now we're going to talk about winning the game of attention. So now we're going to go to mindset. Creating the simplest mindset, I should have underlined it, for 7-figure lifestyle culture. That's the online program that all you guys have. If you're listening to this recording and you're not an elite client, you can just do the online program because this has all the foundational systems, mindsets, everything, team training, everything front door to back door to build a 7-figure, $1 million a year just in your lifestyle patients. So let's go. What is the mindset driving a 7-figure lifestyle culture and movement that is very simple? Now, you guys have seen this before, so let's look at it with fresh eyes. First of all, there's 2 stories that you tell. Now, remember from day 1, stories, people remember 22 times more information from stories. Hey, Tim. You got the story of their pain, day one. What's their pain? Their belief system. The longevity of the progressive degeneration of their body from their subluxated spine. Number two, the story of their transformation. We're going over the story of their transformation tomorrow. What's the story of their transformation? What are they going to do now that they know how they live their life? What are you going to do from this day forward? That's transformation. By the way, they don't buy the pain. The pain initiates motion. It will get them in the program. The transformation, destination, pleasure is what keeps them for life. And I'm going to go through that on Thursday and Friday, why the profession is totally screwed up and made retention based on consequences. We'll go through that more. Proven mindsets to grow your retention faster and easier than ever. One, here's 4 mindset principles. All you have to do is know this. If you think about anything else or you're giving information that's outside of these principles, you're not changing their beliefs to the level that you think you are. Or let's say this, that you hope you are. And if hope is your strategy, that's why they leave. Everything you say begins with these principles. These 4 mindset principles are the timeline and story of their life. So let me show you what these are. 4 mindset principles. 1, spine and nervous system is foundation, life, that, and health in the body. What's that? It's principle first. I mean, why is that number 1? Because if they don't get that, they're not going to understand anything. That's why they're going to quit. Why? Because they're going to use it as healthcare. Even if I have asthma, I get rid of my asthma. Asthma's gone. I don't need you anymore. You solve your problem. Doc, you're the best. I'll come back when my neck hurts and I have asthma. The problem is I don't have asthma, but I died of a heart attack. That's kind of a problem. You didn't know, none of your doctors told you, you weren't told by your other healthcare providers that your whole life and health and energy is dependent on nervous system. So at the end of day 1, can you see how you ended up this way? You didn't know it. You didn't take care of it. You had all this crap happen to you. You took all these drugs because you thought you had no other option. Yet your MD didn't tell you probably the most important life-giving principle of your life, of every generation, and of every generation to come. That's all. That's all. That's all they didn't tell you. Now, here's what's important about the Back to Health book. Because when you tell them what the medical doctor didn't tell you, what are you going to do? You're going to give them a book that has medical studies that is going to tell them. And now, oh my God, the credibility. Your MD knew this the whole time. Now that you see how you ended up this way, how do you want to live the rest of your life? Now it's time for action. Then once they commit, we're going to teach you how to use your body in a way that creates health rather than disease. And that comes back to down to the Back to Health book too. We live in a technology-based society. That's the story it starts with. Flexion is death, extension is life. I get an extension. I decompress my spine every day, not with a decompression table. I have a Pedibond 6-way stretching strap. It's simple. Put it under my occiput. I hang it from the from the banister on my porch, and I hang my body weight from my occiput, and I feel my spine release all the way down. Why? Because it's distracting and opening the disc. That's why I'm going to be 64 in February and I have all normal disc height, and because I have good curves. So how they use their body, live in a flexion distorted society, is going to create disease. That's it. Traction on the cord. Read the Back to Health book, man. It goes one way. So let's start with this one. Spine and nervous system is the foundation. Why did I choose that word intentionally? Because the foundation is energy. I'm sure you're like, well, we know that, Fred. We're not stupid, right? Of course you're not. But do you talk more about the spine or do you talk more about energy? Because why would you talk about spine? If spine is, well, I do CBP, so we have to correct spine. That's the problem. So the foundation is like, I think I used this with you, Susie, today. If you want to get to the 32nd floor of a high rise, you might want to walk in the lobby on the ground floor. You go to a hotel, what do? Check into the front desk. Well, I'm on floor 23. Well, what do you take to get there? The elevator. But you don't get in a helicopter and jump through the window of floor 23. What do? You start with the foundation. The elevator is like your rise in consciousness, you're changing beliefs, you're going to different floors as you establish trust. That door opens and you're in a new world. You have a different view. You're 23 floors up. You can see the whole city that you couldn't see from the ground floor. So you give them the foundation, put them on the elevator. That's the strategy. And then you take them up to a whole nother level of consciousness. You don't have to ask them to refer generations. They're going to ask you. Health, this is your life. How do you know? Well, with a person with cancer, they have a different life than a person who's healthy. With a person that, spring hits and they have to be on drugs because their allergies are so bad, do they have a different life than a person that doesn't have that? Do they have a different life with a person with Epstein-Barr versus a person that doesn't? What about a person with Lyme's? What about a little kid with asthma running around? We went through this yesterday. Do I need to go through it again? It's their life. That's what they have to understand. Okay, mindset 2. They didn't know that, so they didn't take care of their spine and nervous system. That's their only one problem. They didn't take care of their spine and nervous system. So what happened? Now they have an energy problem. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. I mean, it's not a big secret. The fact that your nervous system has the energy to control your whole body, everybody knows that. That's why they see people in wheelchairs. They never made that association. Ask a yoga person. Why? Because they want a healthy spine. Why? Promotes energy. So we can go on and on. It's not their fault. If we want to live a healthy life, is your responsibility. This is what you say to them, right? Also, what they didn't know. Why? Because they trust their MD. Well, we've had this MD for 23 years. Will they tell you that? Yeah. So if you ever had a problem, you went to the MD, you asked him a question, he sent you to a specialist. Yeah. Well, I don't work with your MD. How does he know this? And did he ever tell you that? So he's great at what he does. But if you have a problem for what he does, what he doesn't do, how's he going to know this? And here's my question. Did you go ask your MD when you were looking for a dentist? Thank you, Joe Borio. So when you were looking up online, who's a great dentist near me? I want a referral. Did you call your MD? No. Why not? Because it's not a specialty. Exactly. Thank you very much. Here's what they don't study. Trust is the umbrella objection. You get that? You're in. What they didn't know and what they weren't told shatters all previous belief systems. Why? Because that's what they've done to their health. I got a health problem, I go to an MD. Really? What can MDs do for energy problems? Nothing. Then why would you go? Well, you would go if you're injured and you're in a life-threatening situation. Amen. I used to tell people or in a workshop, hey man, if you walk in and your forearm is hanging down, dangling, I'm going to go, you know what? I'm honored, but you need to go to the emergency room, man. You got a compound fracture that is going to need surgery. Shatters all beliefs. You're only on day 1, day 2. These are the only 2 principles that you talk about. Health is energy, what they didn't know, all the way through day 1, day 2. There's nothing else to focus on. You're only evaluating the extent of the damage or health conditions because they didn't take care of the spine and nervous system. So let's use another example. So if someone's an addict, alcohol, drugs, doesn't really matter. What's a psychologist going to do? Oh, we need to find out about your childhood. We need to get your story. Why? Because it's not the alcohol. That's the vehicle you're using to cover up your emotional pain. What's the difference? You're only evaluating the damage. right? And the damage comes from psychology, not from the spine, because I've damaged my spine. How many injuries have you had? 2,000? But why do I have normal curves? Because I live a chiropractic lifestyle. That's why I'm going to be 64 and I can do what I do, right? Consultation, progressive timeline. It's their story of their pain, not their physical pain, their emotional pain. You're using the health conditions and their generational health conditions. You're using the health conditions. How did they take care of it? What were they told? What did they do about it? What didn't they know? What cost did they pay because they didn't know? Posture, as you guys know, very physical experience. That's the physical effect of the damage. That's also generational. Day 2 ROF, take x-rays. Those are the objective measurements, the result of the damage. It's not what you're trying to fix. Why do you do curve correction? Because you care about the spinal cord. That's why. But if all you do is talk about fixing their spine, you just sold them a product or service. Tony Robbins, Business Mastery, this boot camp too. People don't buy products or services. They buy identity. Who are they going to be becoming? Not with a straight spine. No. When I have a strong, healthy spine, my body's strong, and I have energy through the roof like friggin' Superman or Wonder Woman. That's what they're buying. You're only measuring the extent of the damage. Here could be a very simple report of findings, red line, green line. Okay, green line is health. That spinal cord moving energy like fire hose. Red line, massive stress, your spinal cord stretched like a rubber band, energy doesn't move through there. That's like a garden hose with a bunch of cakes in it. You look at your spine where it is. Are you healthy or sick? I'm sick. Look at the green line. When you get there, you're gonna be sick or you're gonna be healthy. Give them the answer you want them to say second. I'm gonna be healthy. Great. What do you want your health to be like for the rest of your life? You got 18 health problems, man. You never took care of it. That's why you have this. Look how can you understand how you ended up this way? Right. So how do you want to live? Great. Now we already talked about it. You got 3 kids, at least minimally one of them is following this pattern, minimally. And Miss Jones, you're also, so you got one of your kids following the pattern that you have. So do you think it's important, Mary, that we know what your generational pattern is? Because you're also passing that on to your kids, possibly grandkids. By the way, your siblings, now I go through that in the workshop. Siblings are carrying the pattern, they're passing it on to their kids. Millimeters, degrees, all x-ray findings are only the result of the damage of what? Not taking care of their spinal nervous system for their life. This is not their problem. The problem isn't the objective result. The problem is they have an energy problem. That's the problem. So I told this story. I went to the CBP week long, sitting, and I went to the restaurant to have dinner in the park. There was a restaurant in the same parking lot. Talking to this woman, she's complaining, massive car accident a few years ago, blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, she just got done chemo because of leukemia. My first question, did leukemia come after the car accident? Yeah, 2 years. Well, how could you be 58? Your body's making normal red blood cells. Oh, the first thing I said, does a dead person's bone marrow make red blood cells? No, because energy tells her what to do. That's life force. So why did you have normal bone marrow, normal blood cells for 58 years? You get in an accident, then you're 60, and all of a sudden you develop leukemia. Well, the doctor said I have this gene for leukemia. Really? But that gene wasn't active for 58 years. What activated the gene or created the gene? And then why was your nervous system so confused all of a sudden it didn't know how to make red blood cells? What did I do? That's the strategy. I asked the question, what didn't I say? Well, your nervous system does this, and the accident caused that, blah, blah, blah. Why wouldn't I say that? Because her oncologist saved her life. She associates safety and security with her oncologist's information. What did I ask her? Did your oncologist tell you that? No, they don't study it. Thank God you went to him because he saved your life. Now I'm pretty sure you don't want to be on chemo every month for the rest of your life. Would you agree? No, I don't. Questions. Change your strategy. Pre-consultation, they must understand health, life, and energy. They got to get it right there. Consultation is all about what they weren't told. What cost did they pay because they didn't know it? That's the progression of disease. Exam, spinal structure, what they weren't told again, and what cost did they pay? How have they suffered? Right? Can you see why you ended up this way? Then we talk about generational patterns. Health and postural patterns are passed through generations. It's not always genetic. It's most commonly acquired. Now, because health problems and postural patterns pass through generations, yeah, lots of people in your family are going to have it. Generations are going to have it. That doesn't mean it's genetic. It just means they mimic posture, they mimic energy, they mimic beliefs, right? Which child is just like you? Look for common health problems at different stages. So what's that mean? So we had this last boot camp. This one's full of stories, gang, but I'm helping you apply it. Role playing a ROF because it began, ROF, and the girl said, "My mom has MS." So I was asking generational patterns in ROF, role playing with a patient and spouse, and then she had autoimmune. And then her daughter had allergies. What's the difference? There's no difference. Immune system is a pattern, generational pattern, but there are different places of the timeline, right? Now, what was my question? Not that you don't want to end up like your mom. That's an obvious question. What it is does your mom live in this area? We're already getting the mom. Like, well, you don't want to end up like your mom. Basic emotion, basic. But I don't have time for small questions. Does she live in the area? Does she know this? Does she know it's a generational pattern? Is she in a wheelchair yet? What if you could prevent that? Bring her to the workshop. Bring her in for your next visit. 3 ways to refer. We went through that on promotion in the business model. Look for common health problems at different stages. Where on the timeline are they? Because as a condition progresses, the name changes. Allergies to autoimmune to MS to cancer. When the name changes, you're one massive step closer to terminal disease and death. Consultation, look for common health problems, right? Exam, those are common postural generational patterns. I mean, this is so easy. 3 questions to uncover generational patterns. See, here's the deal, man. Am I giving you guys cool shit here? It's like you get the mindset, the systems are easy, right? They're automatic. 1, who'd you get it from? That's the previous generation, obviously, right? 2, who are you giving it to? I go through these on coaching calls continually. 3rd question. Okay, let me click this. Who else in your extended family has this pattern? There you go, gang. We don't stop with immediate family. Why? Our purpose is bigger. That's it. So the end of day 1, we're wrapping it up here. Initial requirements of being accepted as patient. So once they've been x-rayed, they come back and we say, what are the things we're going to go over tomorrow? 1, what's causing your condition? 2, how it's affecting your health. 3, the initial requirements of being accepted as patient, because we have patient application, right? That's going to be the workshop and all kinds of things. 4, your initial investment. So that's why we don't do everything on day 2. There's a long human behavior reason why. I'm not going to get into it now, but we will get into it. Your initial investment. 3, how you want to take care of your health and the health of your family for the rest of your life. Is that a pretty important decision? Now, if we've already talked about generational patterns and they see this is the healthcare system of the rest of their life, because at the end of the exam, what we're going to do is we're going to go through this. How you're going to take care of you and your family for the rest of your life. For those reasons, can you see why you want? Why do we use that word? Because people don't buy what they need, they buy what they want. If they want something, they're going to go home and tell their husband, you need to get here. Your husband, Jim, metaphorical Jim, with you tomorrow. Now, what do we do before we go into these 5 requirements? Okay, here's what we found today. 5 subluxations, 6 postural distortions, 15 different health problems. You were never told, right? Your spine never formed right, whatever. What's their story? You have multiple traumas. You damage and injure your spinal cord and nervous system. You shut the energy down. You've had progressive health problems. Now you're showing up today with all these health challenges that are getting worse by the day. Would you agree? Yes. So what are we going to do? 2 questions for the patient on day 1. Let me move this. And all patients. If health is energy, do you have a health problem or an energy problem? Why is this important? Because people go to doctors to solve problems. Now their vocabulary is problem. So then you must do this. We have health conditions, but they're only caused by one problem. Right? And then you always talk about health conditions, not problems. An energy problem is the found. Then you say, energy. Can you see why energy problems are the foundation of all health conditions? Yes. Can you see why? So there's only ever one problem. We're getting to it. What they didn't know, what their previous healthcare providers are, and what they didn't do. That's where you're going to go over. So here's what you say. Let me go back here. Can you see why, when people learn this, chiropractic becomes their primary healthcare for the rest of their life? Now, if they're on the edge, you can use social proof. Like if you think they might not get it, can you see why when people come here, this is what they do? Now, what do they agree to? Chiropractic's healthcare lifestyle for them and their family for the rest of their life. If you feel like they get it, you say, can you see why when you learn this, this becomes the healthcare lifestyle for you and your family for the rest of your life? 3 principles they must acknowledge: what they didn't know, what they weren't told, and what they didn't do. And that's why they have this problem. 2 principles that are mindsets only. Everything you think, say, and do is only based on these 2 principles. All objections are handled with these 2 mindsets, right? Well, doc, I see you're on high blood pressure medication. Yeah, but my MD's taking care of that. Okay. So who else? Where'd you get that from? Well, the men in my family, blah, blah, blah. It's genetic. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Does every person in every family in the history of human beings with a genetic predisposition, does every person get that problem? They'll say no. So if you want to get people off a belief system, give them a story that's so extreme they have to agree with you. No, they don't. Well, maybe those people do something different. Well, maybe they're lucky. Well, it could be they're lucky. Now, if they say something, you always align. Well, that's true. They could be lucky, but maybe they have a different lifestyle and they have a different spinal pattern. And because of that, they have a different energy that's not putting stress on the nerves. Did your cardiologist tell you the most common sign, condition leading to high blood pressure is a nerve and energy problem? No, they didn't. Well, I know mine's genetic. Okay, let me ask you a question. You ever get a muscle cramp in your calf where it's real tight? You ever get a tight muscle like in your neck? Yes. Okay. Well, that's from a nerve problem, right? Nerves control muscles, right? Do you ever have a muscle cramp where you can't even walk? Yeah, that's called a heart attack. What's a muscle spasm? A tight muscle. high blood pressure. What's a spastic muscle? Heart attack. So would you agree that if a muscle is tight long enough and you keep using it, then one day it may go into spasm? Yes. Well, that's why I take drugs. Okay, what if you didn't take drugs? Now, you're not even going to have to go this far. Use a muscle spasm story, they're done. And then all you do is say, if this is a pattern where we find nerve problems, energy and electrical problems to the areas that go to your heart, would you want me to check it? Absolutely. So how did I handle it? Life is energy. I gave him an example, gave him some stories, used analogies, and then I told them what their doctor didn't tell them. That's why they're on drugs. But do you really want to be on? I know you don't want to have a heart attack, but what if you didn't need them? Now, if you've already done the trash can where people throw their empty drug bottles and you're looking at the patient application and you see they're on blood pressure medication, I would talk about all the blood pressure medication in the trash can. So when our patients learn, spine and nervous system is foundational life without the body. The spinal cord is a lifeline carrying energy to all the organs. And now they correct and the spine causes stress to the nervous system. They correct their spine, turn their spinal cord into an energetic fire hose that their heart relaxes, their blood pressure goes away, even if it's been a pattern in their family. They go back to their cardiologist, and their doctor or cardiologist takes them off blood pressure medication because they don't need it. Well, I can't do that. Mine's genetic. Hey, talk to the doctor about it. Don't go into the big genetic speech. Just go ask the doctor about it. We help a lot of people with these conditions that said they had a genetic problem to find out they really had an energy problem in their nervous system. Hey, I don't know if that's you. We haven't even accepted you as a patient, but I'm pretty sure that would concern you and you'd want to ask the doctor about it. Would you agree? Plant the seed, man. Health and life is energy. What they weren't told by their previous healthcare providers. I mean, geez, look at that. Right? Day one and day two mindset principles change all the previous beliefs. Why? They learn about energy. They learn what they weren't told, what they wouldn't do. That's why their spine ended up like that. You're not solving the spinal problem. You're solving the lifestyle problem. The spinal problem is the result. Why would you focus on the mindset, the third mindset, when the first mindset is when you'll turn them into a leader that affects generations and change healthcare? Why would you do that? That's only the application. Creates a transference of trust, handles the umbrella objection, 5 subluxations, 6 postural distortions, 18 different health problems. Can you see why or how you ended up this way? Can you see why? Oops, sorry. When people learn this, it becomes their or your healthcare lifestyle for their or you and your family. You can use social proof and say there, or you can hit them between the eyeballs and say your. It's up to you. I'm kind of an eyeball guy, but social proof is very powerful. And at day one, initial requirements for being accepted as a patient. What's causing your condition? How it's affecting your health, initial requirements, your initial investment. Take care of your health for the rest of your life. For those reasons, that's why you want your husband, Jim. Day two, ROF. We're almost done. Tell the story of their pain to the spouse. Spouse must understand health is life and energy. So what are you doing? What the spouse wasn't told, why they suffered, why they haven't got better, why their energy is burned out, why they're on drugs. What they weren't told. Focus on the energy in the script, not the spinal mechanics. Ask about generational health patterns in the spouse. Why? Because if they have multiple kids, the spouse is contributing to the health patterns and spinal patterns of the kid. 3 questions to ask the patient and the spouse. Who did you get it from? Who are you giving it to? Who else in your family has this? Now, when the patient gets it on day one, they have to bring their spouse there. They've already said it's healthcare lifestyle for their family. So if this is going to change the way you raise your family and the health of your family for generations to come, wouldn't you want to be on the same page as your spouse? Isn't that, call him by name, Tom? Isn't that one of the most important things in your life? Spirituality, I get it. Family. But then what's a family like if a kid has a disease? Is that the worst nightmare for a parent? Is injury or disease to a child? What if bringing Tom tomorrow could impact the probability that's going to happen is so low that you can live the rest of your life with your family with that confidence? Would that be worth bringing him for 20 minutes tomorrow? Hell yeah, Mama Bear is going to say. Mindset principles. Now it's how do you want to live? When you come to a decision at the end of day 2, third principle, how do you want to live? That's it. Now we immediately switch into that mindset. This mindset takes over when it's time to take action. Now you got to create a fork in the road feeling because it's happening right now. The next step you take can determine the direction of your health and life for you and your family and every generation to come. One step down the wrong road of not doing anything will affect the health of generations. So then you give them the 8 requirements, being accepted as patient, those things available at the workshop, handle any objection with that mindset. If you've done all this up to this point, you won't have any objections. Rarely. How you want to live goes through day 2, through giving time, through giving money. It's how you handle every condition. So we'll go through this real quick. We'll go through the financial. Well, doc, that's a lot of time. All right. So my question is, do you believe you have conditions break your health down? Do you believe that life is energy? Spinal cord's your lifeline, carries energy to organs. That's what keeps you alive and healthy. Yes. Do you believe you have a condition in your spine where your spine was injured, spinal cord was injured, blocking down that energy, and it's progressively breaking down your health? Yes. Do you believe it's getting worse every day? Yes. Then what are you going to do? If you don't take time now, how far does that tire have to roll down the hill till the only time you have is trying to save your life? What's that look like? What do you have to experience where that becomes the only thing that you care about? Other than your family, that you're trying to save your life. How far does it have to go before you make it a priority? Just curious. Now, why would I do that? Because there's only 2 options. You're ready to change your life or your health's not a priority. Now, if they're insistent their health's not a priority, look, I got this work project. I don't have time. All right. So your body's breaking down. So you're willing to sacrifice your health to get this project done. How long is it going to take? 6 months. Do you think you're going to show up 6 months from today and you're going to be the same person? Do you think your spine's going to look like this in 6 months? And if they say, yeah, then we go, that's a problem. That's my fault. If they say no, well, then how bad does that get? What if it gets so bad before 6 months? What are you going to do? So what am I doing? I'm continually painting pictures. I'm telling stories. I'm putting in urgent consequences. And in spite of all that, there's some people who go, look, it's not the time. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being honest. And here's what I would say. I would never want you to start something you would fail. I will never, it's my core value, I will never represent a failure to anyone. And they look at you kind of weird. Great. All right. You're free to go. And then, some people ask, well, my back's getting better. Can I continue to come and get rid of my back pain? And I would say, no. Why? And they would go, why not? I go, because then you're going to think you have a back problem. You don't have a back problem. If health conditions are from energy problems, what type of problem you have? Well, I have an energy problem. That's why I'm not going to talk about a back problem. You don't have a back problem. You have an energy problem. And if you don't want to deal with that, that's your prerogative. There's plenty of people that'll take your $35 from insurance and not care about your health. And we got a whole list of them out front. I just have one last question. Why would you go to a doctor that doesn't care about your health? Do you typically go to doctors like that? I'm just curious. So why would I say that? Because if you walk out, my voice will haunt you. Because what are you going to do? Next time you go to that doctor that just takes $35, he's going to give you an adjustment. He's not going to care about your health. That's going to give you some temporary healing. Absolutely. Is it better than not getting adjusted? Yeah. But as soon as you stop, the energy shuts down, your body goes back in the state of disease. So if you want to live in the state of disease, getting worse every day, I can't stop you. That's between you and God. But if you're ready to reach your God-given potential, then you can come back here and I'll evaluate you again. What I don't say, what so many people say because they think they're in customer service, well, if you change your mind, we're always here. Pardon my language. Fuck that. No, I'm not evaluating your condition. I'm evaluating your mindset. And I apologize if I didn't do the job so you didn't really understand this is your health in your life. But if you do, all the power to you, brother. That's between you and God. And have a great day. If you ever change your mind where your health is a priority, we'll evaluate you at that time. That's it. Done. Have a great day. Well, can I come for my back pain? No. Why? Business model, core values. We don't cross our core values because if you do, you weaken the whole model. That doesn't happen. And when you know that doesn't happen and you're ready to say no and you're ready to hold your feet to the fire, that's how I added 110 people a day in 5 months because I was unstoppable. I was unwavering. I lay in a Denerol every night. I get a new extension every night. I understand the spine and nervous system, and I will live that 100%. That way I can look people in the eye, and they know, don't fuck with this. And they don't want to because it's your certainty talking from your heart and your spirit. So whatever you say that's confrontive, they feel your unconditional love. And that's why they don't get upset. Because they know you love them. And that's why they bring their family. And that's why they break generational patterns. Because somebody has to talk to that dysfunctional mindset. And it's not their fault. That's what they've been taught. But that's not what's going to happen anymore. It ain't happening. And when you put that line in the sand, you will double, triple, quadruple. You'll do whatever you want. And if you don't want to double your volume, then you'll create a waiting list. And that's Cameron Weishar. We have a number of waiting list practices, 6 to 8 weeks, pay $150 in advance to wait 8 weeks to get your first appointment. Oh, those people show up. And you know what else they do? They listen to everything because they waited 8 weeks to get their ass in there. 150 retention. All right, gang. Yay, there you go. I only kept 3 minutes. 4 minutes after. That was a short one. All right, so unless you have any questions, I will unmute you. Comments. Let's say mute all current. Nope, we don't want to mute you guys. You can type something in the chat. Oh, you guys have been. No, I didn't have my glasses on. What's up with that? Those are participants. Chat. We got a chat message. Will do. Thank you so much. All right, you guys. Love you guys. Unless you have any questions, we're going to sign off. Hey, buddy. Hey, Andrew. Good to see you, man. How you doing, Andy? It's been a long time. Right on. Listen to the recording. All right, you guys. Have an amazing day. Tomorrow is going to be so awesome. Tomorrow, we're going to show you how to get them to invest in the rest of their life, breaking generational patterns, and get to that 100 plus PVA. All right, there you go. Love you guys. Peace. Thank you so much.